Hey, what's up, everybody? Just gonna do another video here. We've got the question of the week here. What are some of the most memorable gatherings or reunions with your extended family? Um, I don't think we've really had a whole bunch of extended reunions in our family. So, I mean, we went to Tantera every year with mom's side of the family, the Elmores. I mean, I would call that extended, but that's just my aunts and uncles. There's five siblings, so there's 10 aunts and uncles, or I guess eight aunts and uncles, since my mom and dad don't count as that. But there's five families and grandma, and and those were great. Those were awesome. We went down there on dad's side. I can remember one family reunion. It was down at Johnson Shut-ins, which I think is in Missouri. I actually don't even know. But I think the whole thing, the main reason that I remember that, I was pretty young. I probably was, if I was to guess, I was probably 10 or 12. But the main thing I remember about that was that there was this horrible copperhead breakout or pandemic that was around there. So they're like, don't go into the grass, don't do anything, look out. And my funny story with that was that I was the one that found this big, huge copperhead that was underneath um, there was a door. I don't even remember, right? I was pretty young, but there was a door that came out the back, and my cousin Quartz and I, Quartz Jetton, we were playing catch with, um, I don't know, they were like these almost like highlight, kind of things. There were these plastic cages, right? And you'd catch the ball and then you'd fling it and then go to that person. And he had the same thing. And you could catch it and throw it from these things. Well, anyway, he threw it over my head and it went into this little jet out where, the house just went like this and kind of went back and then over. And there was a thing. So there was like this little, I don't know, I don't want to say courtyard, but a little, I don't know, 6 by 6 area in between the house and the steps. There were like 3 steps and a porch that came out, maybe 6 or 7 feet. Same thing, probably 6 feet by 6 feet in this little grass area. And I remember going thinking when I was going in to get that ball that I was like, that looks like a thing. It looks like there could be a snake like underneath the concrete, right? It wasn't. It was concrete went all the way to the ground, but it didn't go like down under the ground, right? So it was still kind of, you could see some dirt back in there. So me just being a petrified kid that I am, and a petrified adult actually of snakes now, I actually get better as I get older. I think because I think as long as I have like, actually the last I was gonna say as long as I have boots on or something, I kind of feel like well I could freaking I'd be fine. But the last time I killed a snake in the yard, because we live here in Parkville on a couple acres, and so we see snakes. And the last one I killed was in flip flops, and yeah, I don't love doing that. But anyway, I was scared to death of snakes, and I had heard all about them, so I wasn't going to grass. I wouldn't do anything. Quartz is more like I could care less. I'll go in and do anything. But anyway, I instead of going into that little 6 by 6 area, I went on top of the 2 or 3 steps and I had this big plastic thing, and I was like, I'll just hit it out. So I hit it out, and right when I did that, a freaking copperhead like came out and freaking tried to bite the plastic thing when I was hitting it. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so it was all a thing. Quartz was like, awesome, there's a snake. He's this outdoorsy fisherman hunter kind of guy. He's always been that way. And so yeah, sure enough, that thing that came out and it just kind of sat there. Next thing you know, every uncle around is around the thing and they get a shovel and actually Quartz did it. I mean, he had to be like 10. I don't know why, but he was standing up on top of the steps and he just came down behind that thing and killed it. And then, you know, dad's family being such outdoorsy, woodsy, uh, mountain people live off the land. They're like, oh well, copperheads tend to travel in two. Let's check, and so they get freaking some like ammonia or something, and they put it underneath there. And I guess somebody knew that like it hurts their nostrils and their senses, and so it wants them to get away. So I think it was like Bill Jetton, like poured some down there because Bill, like, I don't know, I feel like he'd just grab a copperhead by the head and freaking wring its neck or something. That guy's a tough as nails kind of dude. And he poured that down there, and freaking 2 seconds later, the freaking second one came out, and then they killed that one too. And I'm like, and one of the ants had like been bitten on a porch, and her ankle was the size of her thigh, and I'm like, what are we doing here? This is ridiculous. But that's the only like big family reunion that I remember. But I think my answer to this question is, what are the ones that you remember and that were meaningful to you? And I think all of them are. I just don't think we have big, huge family reunions. I think especially on the Lewis side, it's such a huge family. I mean, yeah, it's gargantuan. Like that whole Jenny website that I kind of set up, and then people have taken off. I mean, the Lewis side, I mean, there's thousands of people, I mean, some of those are generational, and so they're gone. But I mean, of people that are alive, it looks like there's 300, 400 people. Or the Elmore side is pretty small. Um, so I remember, so when it comes to man, my nose is bothering. The actual reunions and that kind of stuff, that's not really something that we do or anything. But I will say all of my best times growing up with family and extended family were all just the times that we would go to my grandparents' houses. And I remember, I mean, from a young age, just loving it, right? Whether we went to Grandma Lewis's and Grandpa Lewis's, and Quartz was there, and Rod was there, and Jeff was there, and Andy and Jesse, and of course, Josh, and um, you're playing, you're going to the creek, and yeah, I just remember everything about that. I just loved it. I mean, all these aunts are around, and they're cooking, and there's cookies, and there's cakes, and there's great lunches and great, and everybody just kind of sits around and chit chats and catches up, and you only did it right. Like nowadays, I feel like family gets together all the time, which is great because you're kind of, I don't know, it feels like people do that more often. Maybe that just depends on the family. But when you were more spread out and you didn't see each other each and every day, it kind of made it fun to just kind of sit around and talk to each other for 2 or 3 days. And so we typically go to like Grandma Lewis's for the weekend. So you get there, Friday night at 9 o'clock, but you'd stay up till 1 o'clock chit chatting, and then you get up the next day, Saturday, and you do it all day, the entire day. Maybe watch some football or something, and then you do it Sunday till after lunch, and then you'd head home. But that was all you did. But I just remember really liking it, and I liked it probably more the more I got older, and you got to be included on the like adult table. So that kind of made it fun too. Same thing on Elmore's side. Like I just remember loving going to Grandma Elmore's, knowing that Kevin and Dave would be there, and so we'd be doing something. Typically, we'd go up the street. There was a elementary school or some kind of school, and they had basketball courts, and so we'd go up there and play basketball, and they had swings, but like the big, huge metal swings you get at a park, and so and you could get going really high, and so those were fun, and just kind of getting in trouble and doing stupid stuff. Josh probably always got hurt. I felt like whether it's falling into a cactus or falling running down the street and getting gravel in his hand, and Grandma Elmore having to freaking like get it out with a needle, and you're like, oh man, that guy was always getting into trouble. But I just remember always liking those. And then as you get older as an adult, they're great because you become the adult, and the aunts and uncles become the grandparents. They're a little older, a little more tired, and maybe some of them are passing away. So now you value that time more. Now, as I've gotten to be 50, as I am today, that older generation is passing away, a decent amount of them. And you don't see them as much because now my mom and dad are the grandparents, and that extended family kind of has gone away, right? Because they have their own little clusters, and they're the matriarch and patriarch of those, and so you don't get everybody together as much. That's one nice part about Dana Elmore is that she has such a small family, right? She just has this tiny side of the family because Um, both of her mom's side is so little, and then she just has the Elmore side. And so when she comes into town, we do get together a lot, and so that is nice because she misses that. She sees Dave Clark, her husband, has this humongous family. They get together all the time and do all this stuff, and I think she kind of just thinks like, I don't want to lose my family too, and just be a Clark. I want to remember the Elmore side, and seeing her. I think cousins is what they are, like Rusty and his family. So, but I love getting together with family and doing family big reunions and catching back up to people. That's why, I mean, this sounds really dark, but I actually like funerals, right? And I think I always thought it was weird that older people, I remember, people would say, "Oh man, went to that person's funeral. Man, it was lovely. Talked to so and so and so and so." And as you get older, you do think that you're like, "Oh, that's the only time that I'm probably going to see a lot of my cousins." Right? It's the only time I see the Jettons. It's the only time I see the Kennedys. It's the only time I see all those people is when, Sonny passes away, or even Kathy Hovis on the other side of the family, but they all live in DeSoto. And people come into town for that. So as people pass away, you do get these mini little 4-hour windows of a family reunion and seeing how people are doing and doing that. So you do like that. I mean, it's a process of life is that older generation's gonna pass on and then I'll be the oldest generation and someday I'll pass on. Let's hope it's 35 years from now, but yeah, you never know. So um I love that stuff. I love just, I mean talk to anybody. I'm very similar to my dad and my dad could just sit around and chit chat all day, him and Uncle Gary, and I'm the same way. I can just sit around and chit chat all day. And Jen's like, "Oh my God, aren't we done chit chatting?" But for me, I could do it. I could do it all day. So I just like catching up with those people that you felt like you grew up with and you were going to be friends with your whole life, and then adulthood takes over and you move on to something else. So it's kind of sad that some of them like for a while I still saw Kevin Hovis, and Dave Hovis for a while, but I don't hardly see them. We don't go over there that often. We don't travel through St. Louis down to Florida anymore, so we don't see them. And for sure, the Jettons, I don't see them. I don't see the Kennedys. I don't see, you know, Gary's kids. I don't see. I mean, really, I don't see the Rodewalls. I really just see Dana and her family. Um, the of the kiddos. I mean, I haven't seen Daniel, Rebecca's son. I have no idea how long. I mean, it'd be as long as Jetton's probably. So yeah, so it's just something that doesn't happen as much, and so it does. You do miss it when you're like, oh man, I felt like I kind of grew up with these aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody always around, but then it just one day you turn around and you're like, man, I haven't seen those people in 15 years. So it's kind of crazy, kind of sad, but I wish we would do people did family reunions more. I mean, that's a neat way to either meet your extended family that you didn't know that you're like, you go to the ones like with dads, the one or two that we had, and you meet his cousins and the Cliffords of the world, and then you meet his Uncle Frank and that he always talked about so fondly and all those people. And so it's too bad that you don't get more of that it'd be great if every 3 or 5 years somebody would put one together. You actually need somebody like mom and dad, that have 20 acres and say, hey, come on out. We're going to have a barbecue and we're going to have, maybe have a bunch of tables out. And that's about all we're going to do. We're going to have some horseshoes and we're going to have throw some bags and everybody's going to sit around and we'll have a TV on if there's some sports on but just come by and say hi for a weekend. Maybe you have a Saturday and a Sunday morning, and that's what it is. You do it every 5 years, but it would be nice. So, but it's hard to do. Everybody's got busy lives and miss out on that. So, kind of sucks. But that's my answer to family reunions and those kind of things and those get-togethers. So, I wish we had more of them.